Hello everyone and welcome to Composition Diary number 1. Well, part of my development diary, Composition Diary number 1. One day I'll get the hang of doing introductions, alright? But not today. So, first off, what you're looking at now is my MacBook. This is my wallpaper. As you can see, this is me with Dream Theater. Yay! I usually have my girlfriend as my wallpaper, but for the sake of not showing everybody, I've done this. So anyways, moving on. This is actually the third time I have done this, and to be honest, I'm getting pretty annoyed and tired of it, because programs just ain't working. Like, just really annoying. The first time I done this, it was actually about half an hour's worth of work and content, and I was using what's the program? iShowU HD, which was fairly good. I mean, I've used it last time I captured my screen, and it worked fairly well, I guess. But now I've encountered a bug, which is it doesn't work. Basically, I've recorded all the content. I've done loads of composition for you. Literally, you was with me as I composed for this project. And they just, as it was compressing, it just crashed. And it's not literally like, sorry, I'm just playing on the keyboard as well. But it's not literally like it saved the file and then I compressed that. It's literally, I stopped recording and it started compressing as soon as I'd stopped recording. So I could not touch a raw file format anywhere. Literally, it just kept crashing 3 times in a row. And every time it crashed, I had to resume, which took 2 hours. And then compress again, which took 3 hours. And right at the end of compressing, it would crash. Therefore, it pissed me off. So I've moved on to ScreenFlow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I've been doing, what I've been trying to show you for the past 2 days, which is in my final project. And yeah, I told you about these letters earlier in another video. So let's load up this one I got from Blitz. Basically, for my primary research, or my first-hand research, whatever you really want to call it, I'm going into game development studios and interviewing people and the professionals in there, and basically get first-hand interviews from professionals. And in order to do that, I've got to kind of get in contact with them and stuff like that. But this one in Leamington Spa, Blitz Game Studio somewhere, they're average, pretty medium-sized to large game studio. They do open days for university students such as myself. So I applied, and of course I don't want just every Tom, Dick and Harry, maybe Frank, coming in. So what they've done is they've kind of set us a task and a brief, and they've either told me, because I'm a music student, music technology, interested in the audio side, they've either told me to make a sound design product where I replace audio, but I've decided to go music design, whereas I make and / compose, mix, edit, some zombie game audio. So basically, they've asked me to make interactive music for a suitable for a zombie game. Even it should have 3 variations: explore, normal, and fight. Now, they put little brief descriptions. It should be just for the character exploring the level. Sinister but little action happening. Normal character encounters a moderate level of action, some bad guys to fight, and then action characters in a big action scene. And when I first started the project, I put it into 48 kilohertz 16-bit. And 48 kilohertz is usually what consoles run at these days. Xbox runs at 48 kilohertz usually, depending on how much they're trying to squeeze in. Well, Xbox and PlayStation 3 and Wii, I think the Wii, can all run at 48 kilohertz sampling rate and stereo 16-bit. Of course, Xbox can do 5.1, PlayStation can do 7.1, I believe, and I think the Wii does 5.1 or Pro Logic. I think it's not a powerful console for audio. But anyway, this is what I have to do. And that's Redbook standard, by the way, 44.1. I think that's all I want to show you for now. Well, all I want to show you of that. So let's move to Logic, where the composition is being done. Logic Pro, open recent. Yeah, there it is. So basically, I'm composing those 3 tensions. I call them tensions. All right, this is just how I've researched and just came across this what's it called? Term called tension. So I'm calling these tensions. You can thank Jeff Schmidt for that. I've got the explore, the normal, and the fight. I've added these kind of, because they've given me a brief, right? And they just said make something for a zombie game. And I thought, okay, that's still quite a open brief, so I'm going to give myself limits, and I'm going to make myself more productive by giving myself these limits to work within. And I've put myself a little chord sequence down, a dark, sinister chord sequence that I kind of liked, and I'm going to base this whole project around. And then I've got these tensions. So explore, I'm going to make it ambient. It's going to have small percussion slash high, basically high up percussion, cymbals and things. It's going to have a lot of pads and noises for the sinister kind of style. Next up, it's going to have like the normal, you're fighting a couple of bad guys, things like that. The next tension, it adds percussion, basically drums, timpani, bit of orchestral percussion, a bit like that. Not like full, rock drums where it's just 4/4 beat, boom, 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 boom. Ba-ba! It's not going to be anything like that. It's going to be proper good, I guess. I can't think of a way to explain it, but it's going to be different. It's going to have a tiny bit of guitar. If you've ever played Halo, there's a really cool guitar sequence on Oni Sword Bass, I think it is, in that track, where it's just got basically a guitar with a bit of palm muting on a couple of notes, and it just really worked. So that's what's going next. And then of course got your brass, light and string. I've decided to have brass be the main focus of this piece, because brass is really sinister. Like it's fair enough having a chord sequence and things like that, but instrumentation also comes with it a lot. So I'm using heavy things, I'm using sinister things, and the strings they kind of act a bit like mid-range pads or something. They're really good, but they're just being support. They're playing a support role and not a upfront role like the brass are playing. And of course, finally, fight and heavy guitar, full drums, percussion, a really big kind of nice big reverb kind of thing with heavy brass, being the main instrument, and then supporting strings. So that is my brief that I've set myself. And of course, I actually made this for you, with you, playing it all in. I played it all in. Of course, I played the chords in separately because I hadn't actually learned them very well. I haven't played in a while, so I was a bit rusty, and I was kind of like, but anyways, I played all this in with you, and then earlier today, I've kind of like, these are pads, and I was messing around with some mastering, and I accidentally flicked a high pass, no, it was a low pass. I accidentally flicked a low pass filter on, and onto one of my mastered tracks anyway, like a full track, and I thought, hey, that sounds really cool, that would go really well with this track that I'm doing. So first I'm going to let you listen to what I've done, and then I'll explain each separate bit, so hopefully this will work. Yep. And there you have it, that's the loop. But you can probably tell it's a little short at the moment, and off camera I'm going to extend this. I'm going to add a bit more, maybe one or two more instruments into it to make it a little more less obvious it's a loop, so people can, it'll be more immersive, and that's what we want in a video game, to immerse the player with the soundtrack and make what's happening on screen, come through in the audio as well, like not just sound effects, with the music. So I'm going to move on to the instruments I've used. Now, I actually first done the ambient pads, and I first started with this one. Let's open up that's what that pad sounds like. But of course it's a lot lower down. So I wanted to add just, pads, just really pad out the sound, and these are really kind of well done. I'll take off the EQ and you can actually hear. Now let's turn on the EQ. You can hear it's taken out the high ends, giving us a nice dark kind of setting, and that's what I wanted to do with the pads. The pads give us like a nice dark setting. Both of them gives a nice dark setting, and one of them I heard gave a nice kind of high feedback, which I really liked, even though I kind of cut out the high ends. So I really like where that is. I'm not quite sure which pad's done it, but these two pads give me like a nice frequency, low end frequency range, so to speak. And they pad out the sound. They really give it a nice dark pad, I may be repeating this often, but this is kind of the basis of the entire track. Then I've got the percussive notes, which are like the which go really well. So I'll just see what I mean. I've got an echo, because if I take the echo off, it's just one and it doesn't sound as good. So I'll just let you compare that to with an echo. Yeah, see what I mean? See what I mean? And now let us take solo off, and you can hear it. You know, you just listen to it with everything else, and it really does sound a lot more sinister. See, it really does add tension, because not a lot's going on, and then you just get one sudden and it kind of fades out. And that's what this is doing. I've not really got much noise. This is the high percussion end, and in a second, let's just see, the next bit isn't actually okay, it is a cymbal, but it's just really low cymbal, and it kind of works really well with everything else. You can't really hear it, doesn't cut through, but it gives another kind of element to the mid to highs, kind of mostly the mid somewhere. And then of course I've got the piano. Now the piano is the attack. I've got these pads, they've got a really slow attack, and they're padding out the sound. They're not exactly responsive. So I've got the piano playing really sharp chords. If I go into the Matrix page, they're just going holding the chord like that, and that's fine. So let's listen to these soloed, and I'll show you what they're doing. See, they've got the attack, and then they ring out for a bit, and then they stop. Maybe I should, because I've got the next instrument, and let's listen to the next bit. See, that's pretty cool. And that's just basically giving the attack, and because it's low down, it's making it also sinister. I mean, if you play these up high, they won't be as sinister. Like, it's something about low end that gives it that darker. Oh dear. Oh, this is just wrong. I shouldn't be making these low end poo jokes. But anyways, I'm gonna move on to this this pad I found within the sampler. It's quite shocking how strange. It's not a pad. It is quite sharp. See, even though it's still a pad, it is quite harsh and sharp to some point. It's got a bit more high. It's got a bit of a high rumble it's still a low rumble, but it's a high low rumble, and it kind of adds that extra bit of because it's playing along with the piano. You see, it's just really kind of like that. Now I wonder if I can change the velocity, make it sound a bit better. Yeah, I like that. And everything else has gone up too. Awesome. Okay then. So that is what I've gotten so far. Let's save that. And of course, I'm not finished yet. This is just the first tension. I'm going to make it at least twice as long. I'm going to at least double the length, and then I'm going to add at least another instrument in for noises. Some high noises. Maybe I'll get some white noise and then take out the low end, and then just kind of play around with that. But I'm not going to do that now, because I don't have enough time, and I'm really quite annoyed that that last time didn't get recorded, and I've got stuff to do. So this is basically the start of the zombie game audio, and my first kind of real adaptive audio piece, which is it's going to be finally end up in FMOD Sandbox, not FMOD Sandbox, FMOD Designer down here. That is going to be its final format. Of course, I won't send them the Designer file. That will just be for me testing out Designer and showing you guys how FMOD works, and kind of helping myself learn the program. Maybe if they're interested, I'll send the FMOD file and tell them I've made this adaptive score. It's not an OST, it's literally an adaptive score ready to be used within a game. So what do you think? Maybe I'll send that to Blitz and they can have a look at it, or maybe I'll send them a video that, send them a link to one of these videos. But this is basically what I'm doing, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll hope you like what I'm going to do in the next part, which is moving on to the normal tension, and that's probably going to take about 3 or 4 videos to do, because I'm going to do a lot of cutting in that one, because there's a lot to do in the next tension, and it does take a considerable amount of time to compose. So look forward to the next ones, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I have some mastering and vinyl restoration videos coming up soon as well, so look forward to those, and I'll see you again soon.